morning, everybody. I see we've got a handful of people out there today. For our new business, we've got our presenter announcement. Andy Speck is going to be joining us from Encompass, going over the intro to Application Studio. I'll be doing how to customize a Kinetic screen, add fields, add buttons, and then Fred will be going over functions. How do I call a function and have a little snippet of code execute so that I can do customizations behind those Kinetic screens. We also have Phil Spencer joining in from Focus Software. He's going to be doing the Epicor data analytics. So during our last meeting, the in-person, we had a vote on the meeting dates, and the meeting dates for 2023, we elected February 16th to be another virtual meeting, so that'll be here online. April 20th, for those local to Chicago, will be an in-person. June 15th will be a virtual meeting. September 13th will be the in-person meeting here in Chicagoland again. And then November 16th will be the next virtual meeting. So instead of having 4 meetings next year, we'll actually have 5. 3 will be virtual, 2 will be in person. I think the in-person meeting went great. Everybody had a chance to kind of like sit, talk, collaborate, and forget what people look like since COVID, because there are a few people that walked right past me. I'm like, how do you forget me? I'm like, I'm always in bibs, and right now I've got a blue beard. That really pretty much leaves a memory. But nope, there were a handful of, oh, I can't believe I walked right past you. So it was good to get back together in person and see some people that we haven't seen for a few years. During the meeting or right at the end, when we close the meeting, it should send out a survey request. If you go ahead and fill that out, topics that you'd like, how the presenters were, how the meeting went and unfolded, that would be great. It gives us feedback so that we can kind of plan for the next meeting. The key piece I say is suggestions for topic ideas. It's from the users, we get the list. So that's why this meeting ended up being so Kinetic heavy, is everybody seems to have a question on how to use the new framework, how to do things that they used to do in the old customization mode, but now do it in App Studio. The announcement is still right now that the Kinetic or Classic UX is supposed to be phased, sunset 2024.1. So in my book, that means it'll go on through 2024. We'll find out as we get closer if Epicor moves that date again. So this morning, we've got Epicor data analytics. Did we get Phil to pop in here yet? Trying to get to my attendees and peoples.
No, Phil is also at a second group. Oh, Phil is here.
Phil is in the meeting. I see him here. He's just muted himself out.
Good morning, everybody. I just tried to unmute myself, and I am here, logged in earlier. Long story short, had to cancel my in-person user group meeting due to a vehicle issue with my wife. So I'm here present, and I'm getting queued up for the earlier time you want me to present at 9:45. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Phil, if you want to move earlier, we can. There was not a lot of new business for me to go over today. I know we had a half-hour plan for it, then a 15-minute break. Are we good with jumping in early, or do you want to start a little early, maybe 9:15?
If we could, if we could leave it at 9:45, I was wrapping up a few things. I actually had it scheduled for a little later, but I'm okay presenting at 9:45 if that still works with you all.
Yeah, Calvin, the original schedule we had it at 2:45.
Okay, so I have a different plan. Do you have your agenda?
Yeah, intro to App Studio is at 9:45.
So it looks something more like this.
Yeah, Phil's right before the Stump the Chump.
Okay,
And I'd rather, if we can, keep it that way since that's what we advertised out in case people were calling in strictly for the EDA discussion.
that works perfect. Not gonna argue here.
Intro to App
And
Studio will be at 9:45 then.
now, do we have the ability to possibly start early, Andy, and go ahead and record the session? We'll go ahead and put that up on the YouTube.
Again, if we start early because we advertise 9:45 as the start time, you'll be throwing people off that were coming in just for that session.
Okay. We kind
Sorry,
of have an open area. Is there any questions that people have or things regarding 2023 meeting dates? I know Insights is coming up next year. We do have an open forum time then where we can discuss.
Yep. And if you want to, again, just because you're presenting, your session is 11 to 12. And then I'll be 12:45 to 1:30. And Phil's 1:45 to 2:30. And originally we had Stump the Chump at 2:45. Sorry, I must have got you the wrong info. There we go.
If we bend, we flip, we make things work.
That's right. We do have a question from Angela Dawson. Are there any known issues with document management, i.e. file attachments in Kinetic?
Not that I've run across or heard from anybody.
Let me find Angela and I'll unmute her. Helps if I sort alphabetically.
I'm going to pull my attendee panel out so I can see the list better.
Angela, you should be able to unmute if you do have, if you want to put more.
There you are.
I'm here. So I've actually put in a case with Epicare and not really gotten the results I was looking for. Currently with Classic, we haven't really set up anything as far as, document types or associations or, we just have the attachment type and we've been using Link, and I guess Link is the one that's going to go away. So I've been trying to figure out how to set up file system instead. And it seems like, I think I can't even attach it. Somehow it just throws in a different server than what is expected. Also, like I can still use Link, but then you go to click on the little viewer icon and nothing pops up to be able to look at the file. So, yeah, I'm just not getting the answers I need, and I don't even know where to begin. I don't know what the minimum is that I need to set up to be able to go to file system.
Now, are you using cloud or on premise?
We're on cloud.
Okay. In the cloud, you'd probably need to set up your file system so that it can store the link locally. In the cloud, you wouldn't be able to move the files up to the server and store them on the server. So you would have to drag and drop them from a local network share.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do is a network, a shared network drive. Which that doesn't seem to work, but even if I can get something to actually attach, then I can't get it to view. And so I don't know if I need to also have those document associations that, you know, where it's like, is this a PDF? This is how you open it. Or I don't know if that stuff also needs to be set up.
Well, so as long as you're storing the UNC path and people can get to that same UNC path, so like /file/shares/my document.docx.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're storing them that way, and then in your document management, you say that you're going to store links, it'll store that UNC path instead of the actual document. And then when anybody else tries to click on that, they're going to get told, here's the link for that. And that'll just fall back to the operating system. So as long as they've got something associated PDF or something associated to doc on their operating system, then it should just pop up for them.
Oh, so we don't have to specify the associations as long as they
No,
have the
ma'am.
software to do that.
Not anymore.
Yep.
Okay, well, something's not working. So I guess back to the drawing board with that. But I didn't know if there was issues that they're still dealing with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what you could
maybe
do, you could write a BAQ to look at your X-file attach table and make sure that they're being stored as UNC paths. And then you could just literally copy a value out of that X-file path and put it into like File Explorer for yourself, and the document should pop up, because that's all that Epicor is going to do is pass back, hey, open up this document. And as long as it opens up for you or opens up for somebody else, then it should open up on your system regardless.
Yeah, and I guess what I've found is like, you know, even setting up that server path, when I go to click attach, just doesn't do anything. So I don't know, something's not right, but okay.
Yeah, because on the,
I know
make
it's hard
sure-
to speak to it when you can't see.
yeah, I know there's a way to say, have Epicor manage the documents that you don't want, because since you're in the cloud, you're not gonna upload the documents to the cloud. They're gonna stay on that UNC
Right.
path.
Right. Okay.
So that should work for you, but let me know if it doesn't. We can try and help you out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep trying. Thank you.
The other thing that they added with the cloud going forward for 21 and forward, you should be able to also use Google OneDrive, and I think Dropbox is now also integrated with Epicor. So you
Right.
don't just
Right.
have to use a local file source.
Right. I don't know that our IT department's going to want to do that. It kind of depends on what they want to do, but I was trying to get the quickest fix just to be able to, because it's like, well, you can't really move to Kinetic unless our attachments work. That's a problem. So,
Just a small one.
yeah, can change all your processes. So yeah, just one of those roadblocks.
Just let us know if you
It's a
keep running
speed
into a
bump.
problem. Yeah, let us
Okay.
know if you keep running into a problem. We can try and help you out there too.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have, I know of other users that are cloud, and they're not having these troubles. So if you still have a problem, Angela, just let me know and I'll put you in touch with their IT person.
All right, sounds good. I mean, I'm not IT, so I'd probably have to do, you know, I'd probably transfer it to them, but somehow I'm working on it.
Not to worry, it's just going into system management and system maintenance and setting up.
Yep.
Okay.
Which
As long
I've
as you
done.
have
I've
access
done,
to
but
it,
I don't
you're
know.
good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we got time for a couple more. So Gary, good night. We make prepayments to some of our international vendors. Epicor instructed us to enter a $0 invoice to clear these advance payments after receipt of the products. Some of these advance payments did not clear after posting the $0 invoice. Does anybody have any more information on best practices to clear the advance payments?
I was looking if Lori was on the meeting. She's not on the meeting this morning.
I think she's coming in later because she did register. Does anybody else run into that $0 invoice for advance payments that might know the answer? If you are, just raise your hand or type into the question area and I can unmute you. Calvin, if you run into that?
Nope.
Okay, Gary, I think you officially stumped the chump. Ta-da! You win the no prize. What we can do is, because I think we might have a couple other people in the stump the chump session. Can you file that for STC, Calvin?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one from Erin Miner up above that she typed in as a question as well. I'll just put you as the answer for those two. Sorry, Gary, don't know the answer right off. Okay, Kevin Barrow, I was trying to add a parameter to a BAQ that is used as table criteria. If it's blank, show all records. What you could do, Kevin, let's see here. In SQL, it's a little bit easier, so I'm trying to think through on the BAQ. You could add a calculated field on the BAQ that if the parameter is blank, then return, let's say, the customer ID, because you're querying the customer table. Otherwise, if the parameter is not blank, return the parameter. And then your table criteria, you might actually have to make it a subquery criteria. You could then compare the customer ID equal to that calculated field. So if the calculated field is blank, it would actually return the customer ID, which would then return every record. It would be matching itself. And if it's not blank, then you would match only where that customer ID is what you're looking for. So you kind of have to do it a little bit backwards. You have to add that calculated field, I think, unless anybody else has got another idea or way to solve that. If you do, just type into the questions or raise your hand and I will, again, unmute you if I can. Ooh, Susan.
This is the one she submitted by email.
Yep, okay. So I think we do have that in the STC for later, Susan. And I did, Calvin, I don't think when I sent this over to you, because Susan's got it set up on our system, if we need to, we can actually make her the presenter during that question if we need to dig into that as well.
Got it. Now, I don't think Kevin Barrow's question is the same using a BAQ parameter.
No, Susan's submitting her question again. Kevin's is a separate thing. Okay. And I'm trying to type that answer in that I gave him. And I just got that done. Okay. Matthew Heck. Has anyone found a good way to individually execute subqueries to analyze results in a BAQ apart from copying over to SQL directly? If not, I'll try to remember to put in a feature request on Epicor ideas and maybe enough votes. The only other way I've found, Matt, is if you don't want to copy them over to SQL, make them their own query to test with. So you might want to, when you start building, you kind of start with your innermost query, make it the top level query. And then when you run the analysis, it'll analyze that one. And so then you can build the shell out, so to speak, and figure out what's going on. But there's no way to isolate your query other than making one of the subqueries the top level query. So that's the only way I know of, unless somebody else has got another idea. I'll go ahead and send that out as an answer. And Susan, I'm going to mark yours as we're going to do that during Stump the Chump, just so I get it off of the outstanding questions list, since it is a rather long one. It's kind of hard to scroll through that one. Okay. Any other questions from the audience? We'll try and answer what we can. We got about another 15 minutes or so before the intro to App Studio. Kind of want to keep things on the set agenda because some people specifically come in for the session that they wanted to see as opposed to attending the whole thing. So that's why I'm saying maybe not start terribly earlier than we advertised.
And Aaron, I'm updating a note saying we got this added to the STC.
Yep, and she's actually had to take off. So if we can keep that for the STC when she'll be back, that would be good. Any other questions or, oh, Aaron is here. Sorry. Susan's got another one. When viewing documents in Kinetic, MSG files do not display the view icon option for us. So let me unmute Susan here. Sorry, my alphabet's lagging. There we go. Susan, you're unmuted. So you just drag a message as an attachment and then it won't let you view that anymore? Susan, are you there? Susan.
You're unmuted if you're there, Susan.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
now we can.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I've had a case in with Epicor for a while and I'm not getting anywhere. All of our PDFs and Excel files and Word documents can be viewed with the view icon, but the email messages, for some reason, the view icon is not there. So we have to download them in order to view them or see them. We can't figure out what in our system is causing that. And Epicor can't duplicate it.
And they have a .eml extension.
The .msg extension.
Is that for Google email?
No.
Outlook.
Can't think of why it wouldn't have the view icon.
Only in Kinetic. Works fine in the
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
So same version, Classic View, it's working, and Kinetic View, it's not.
Right.
I've not tried attaching emails in the latest stuff, but it should work the same, I would have thought.
Yeah, we would have thought too.
I'm trying to think of anything that would be blocking it. Because Kinetic is more web interface, so they should just be looking if there's an attachment, then display the view icon and spit the file back at you. Unless they're trying to, are your files stored in your database or are they stored as a link?
DocStar or server on the file server.
Yeah, the file server.
So then if they don't know, because it's using a web interface for Kinetic, this is pure speculation. But when you spit a file back, you have to have in the header what type of application it is, that it's like a PDF or an XLS. So if they just don't have the header for message done properly, that would be the only thing I could think of.
You can put it also in the extension. There's a place in there to put the extension and the file type in there.
Uh-huh.
The files they don't have in there, and that doesn't seem to do anything either on the client or on the web interface.
Yeah, because spitting the HTTP header back is the only thing I can think of that would make sense, with the difference because you're in the same version of the application. It's just whether you're using the Kinetic UI or the Classic. In the Classic, we would just spit back the file and let the OS handle it. But in web, sometimes you have to have that extension header on there, which, like you said, you would think, okay, I'm going to add that header in, and then you'd be all right.
Yeah, it's weird.
If anybody else from the audience has any suggestions or ideas, please go ahead and type them in. I'm going to move on to a couple others here. Mike Mullaney, regarding the BAQ parameter from Kevin Barrow, doesn't skip condition if empty checkbox cover that situation?
I
Mike?
think this was to Matt Heck's original
Matt.
question. Kevin and Mike, I think, are responding to Matt's original question.
No, Mike, Matt's question was on analysis. Kevin's question was on BAQ parameters. So Mike is responding to Kevin Barrow for the BAQ parameter. Skip condition if empty, that could work, yes. I'd have to test it. To be honest, I have not run in there. Kevin's got his hand raised, so I'm going to unmute Kevin. Kevin, if you want to, there you are.
Okay, so I actually tested the skip condition if blank, and for whatever reason, maybe, but unfortunately that did not work for my use case. It would filter everything out.
Yeah. So there we go.
Now,
Can I jump in real quick on this? I was just working on this to test something. Part of the reason for the testing with the parameter, when you have a character parameter during the testing, you can't send null, it always sends empty. You can really only do it through other mechanisms to tell it to not send it. But another way that you can do it instead of having to do a calculated field or something like that is you can actually do it on the table criteria as an expression. So if you want to filter on customer ID, put the customer ID as the field that you're filtering on, and then the filter value, just use your case statement when, you know, that parameter is empty, then return that customer ID. Else, you know, have it return the parameter ID, similar to the calculated field, but you don't have to bother creating a calculated field and then filtering on that.
Awesome, good idea.
that might actually work in my use case too. I was having some difficulty with making that work, but I was trying if then else's. I didn't think about
Yeah, it has to be in SQL syntax. So case when.
Got it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, and Kevin also suggested to Matt, what about a recursive CTE to analyze the results of the BAQ? Kevin, if you're still on there, I'm not sure, because he's got the subqueries, I'm not sure how changing it to a CTE would help what you're looking for the analysis. If you want to expand on that.
Okay, so I'm pretty new to Epicor myself, and I'm still exploring thoughts and ideas and learning all the time, right? But I did come across the CTEs, which when you set up a main CTE as a top level, you can go through and have it reference itself and subqueries, which might be able to, depending on his specific use case, might be able to get him what he's looking for.
Matt, I'll go ahead and unmute you in case you want to chime in there. I don't think that will help because I think Matt was talking about multiple subqueries and trying to figure out which specific subquery was having the issue, but I could be wrong. Matt, if you want to chime in. Are you there, Matt? Oh, Matt may be busy. I see he's unmuted, but I'm not hearing anything. And I'm not sure, but the analysis, when you do the actions analysis, I know in SQL, you'll get information based on all the different subqueries. So it'll break it out. I don't know, because I can't remember. I remember doing the analysis at one point in time just to see how it worked, but I don't remember if it shows the subqueries broken out or not too. And that's actions, analyze query, and it'll bring up the SQL analysis for it. So I would think it would show the subquery separately, but I could be wrong. So I think we got everybody's stuff answered or filed away for Stump the Chump. We will start back up at 9:45 with Andy from Encompass doing intro to App Studio or Application Studio Basics.